Solo sognar orizzonte mancan le parole.
This is Val Hale with Neil Smith at Chamber Matters. We're in our final segment today. Welcome back to 1480 KHQN. We will be talking here with Scott Miller in a second. If you have a question and would like to reach out, it's 1-800-776-1913. Again, 1-800-776-1913. Scott, it's great to have you. I think
Welcome,
you've been
Scott.
on the show before.
I have, thank you. Yeah.
And
great.
our resident expert in all things Obamacare, or as some people facetiously call it, the Affordable Care Act. So anyway, this is an important time, and we have a fun event coming up where Scott is going to be available to meet with business owners to explain this. Why don't you tell us a little bit about this on the 26th, Scott?
Yeah, so on the 26th, this coming Thursday at 11 o'clock down at the former chamber offices. They're at 51 South University Avenue, the old courthouse. We're going to be up on the second floor in the ballroom and have about an hour presentation put together going through three primary aspects of the ACA, the Affordable Care Act. First is the individual mandate, basically the part of the law that requires that all Americans have health insurance beginning in January of 2014. We'll also talk about the insurance exchanges that will be, we currently have one in place now with Avenue H, which is a small business exchange that's been in place now for several years. And then the marketplace will be the name of the individual exchange that opens up actually next Tuesday, a week from today. October 1st is when that portal is supposed to be opening. It's a web-based tool that will allow individuals all over the country to go in and apply for insurance with the local insurance carriers that they have access to. In some cases, they may qualify for a premium tax credit or subsidy where the government will actually pick up a portion of their premiums, and we'll actually be in a position to help folks through that process as well. And then the third aspect the third component of our presentation will be the employer shared responsibility. So large employers, what their responsibility will be moving forward with regards to offering health insurance to their employees.
Oh, very cool.
And that starts at what time on Thursday?
11 o'clock a.m.
11 o'clock down in the old historic courthouse downtown Provo in the ballroom on the third floor.
Third floor.
And so you're going to be providing lunch too with
Yes,
that?
yeah. So lunch will be
best
provided
part
at no
ever.
cost, so.
Yeah, that'll be great. So I would encourage you, if you have any questions, whether I guess you're a business owner or if you're just an individual with questions, feel free to come and enjoy this. This will be a very informative session. I can speak from personal experience. Scott handles a lot of our healthcare issues. We're involved with Avenue H, and Scott has helped us and our employees with that. A very, very knowledgeable person and very good to work with. Great customer service.
Thank you, Val.
So, real quick question here. I know I'm excited to have you on here because the October 1st deadline, what does that mean for everybody?
Yeah,
that's
a
I
great
guess jumping
question,
straight into the meat of the
No,
the
thank you.
conversation
That's
here.
great. So there's actually two parts to the October 1st deadline. Number one, for all businesses, whether they're small or large, whether they offer health insurance or not, they have to provide or distribute a notice to their employees, both full-time and part-time employees, regarding the insurance exchange. There's a model notice that the government came out with a couple of months ago.
Okay.
And we've actually, the last 3 or 4 weeks, have been heavily involved with our clients and some that are not clients quite yet, getting the word out to their employees regarding these exchanges. And so we can provide assistance on that. The second component to October 1st is the opening of the exchange. And there are some doubts today, we're a week away, that the exchange will be, or the marketplace portal will be up and running to the point where people will really be able to dive in and get a feel for what's going on. We're actually telling our clients to hold tight for a couple of weeks beyond October 1st, wait for the dust to settle a little bit. And the reason why is the insurance companies, as of today, have not released their insurance rates yet and don't expect to until next Monday.
Oh wow.
So how that transition is going to take place of getting the information into the portal, the marketplace portal the next day, remains to be seen whether that's going to happen or not. So we're a little nervous.
Well, I think if you could sum up the whole Affordable Care Act in one word, it would be uncertain.
Yeah, there's definitely some uncertainty.
It's been uncertain almost from the beginning, and they've moved. I guess they postponed the for big businesses the penalties
That's
that
correct.
right?
Yeah,
For
they
1
delayed
year?
it 1 year. So anybody who has more than 50 employees does not have to offer insurance to their employees until January 1st of 2015.
15. But the small business owner and the individual, I guess, need to start working now to get everything in place, right?
Well, yeah, and that's a great question. I know there's several small business owners that are under the impression that they have to offer health insurance to their employees, and that's not true. They do not have to and never will have to, at least at this point. But individuals, and that's where the individual mandate comes into play, every individual citizen does have to have insurance beginning in January. If they don't, then they'll be paying a tax penalty when they file their tax return in subsequent years. And the amount of that penalty will be based on their family size and income, et cetera.
What's your guess? I was on a panel last Friday with the healthcare system talking about businesses' reaction to this and how business is coping, et cetera. What is your take from what you're seeing out there about, are there businesses who are going to drop coverage or who are going to seriously alter their coverage as a result of this law? We
I think all the above. We are talking to some companies that are smaller, that are kind of looking at what their overall cost would be compared to dropping their insurance, allowing their employees to go into the exchange or the marketplace. Because keep in mind, beginning in January, if somebody goes into the marketplace and applies for coverage, they cannot be denied coverage. They have to be accepted no matter what their pre-existing conditions are, which is not the case today. So I know for some small business owners, they've been concerned, well, I don't want to leave those employees that might have medical problems out in the dark without coverage. Come January, that won't be an issue. But there are also many companies that recognize that benefits are still a great attraction and retention tool. And if they can provide good benefits, continue to subsidize a portion of the premium, offer dental and vision and other kinds of benefits, that's going to be another tool to separate them from other competitors that they might have in the marketplace. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens. And it's going to, I think, company by company, you're going to see that change at that level.
I've heard several stories of companies like, wasn't it UPS, that decided that they were going to eliminate coverage for spouses and
Correct.
children, so
Right.
they would cover only the employee, and different things like that, even for some of the larger businesses. So, what's going to end up happening when those things go down?
Again, I think that's where the marketplace is going to play a big part in filling that gap and allowing individuals, and in situations where an employee is being covered through his employer, no coverage for the spouse or children, they can go into the marketplace and acquire coverage there. And that way there's not going to be a gap for the family in not having coverage. Now, they probably won't qualify for the subsidy. And that's the one aspect of this that I think has been probably the greatest concern to us that are following it closely, is we're not sure how the government's going to be able to afford this subsidy bill.
Hey, the government can print all the money they need.
Well, we all know what the impact of that would be on the economy if that were to happen. So we're concerned there that it gets taken advantage of. They're relying this first year kind of on the honor system for people to declare when they go through the application process. There's not going to be any verification other than what the applicant puts into the enrollment system as far as what their income is. And because the subsidy is income-based, it's a little scary concept there.
Oh, that's really interesting. I guess for me personally, I have some good friends that work with the Levitt Partners up in Salt Lake.
Uh-huh.
And so they're constantly going over all the healthcare issues and things that are going to be occurring. And I guess I'm curious, how well will the system work? We hear from the news, oh, it won't work, oh, it will work. From your perspective, every day you are in the system looking at how it's going to affect companies and personal families and things like that.
Yeah.
What are the biggest worries and what will be the biggest benefits?
So that's a great question, Neil. And I think what we've seen in the past, we do have a state in Massachusetts that has gone to a kind of this type of format where they've got an insurance exchange for individuals in their state. And what they recognized pretty quickly is that they didn't have the broker community there to support that program. And so it didn't come off as well as what they had hoped. One of the benefits of being here in Utah is that the insurance carriers here are very supportive of the broker community. They recognize that in order for this to be successful, that we as brokers who have experience are going to be the ones that will help to fill that gap of education. And then, because beyond the application process, who's going to be there to help with claims questions, or they've got a provider question. They have a benefit question. In most cases, they're not going to want to call a toll-free number to get that answer. They want to go to somebody who's got experience that they can trust, that will help
they want
them.
to talk to a person.
Yeah, a live body.
Yeah, that's very
And
true.
so we've been very proactive. We have not buried our heads in the sand, if you will, with regards to this. Since it
Okay.
first passed, we've been going through lots of trainings, and we've done workshops, and we've done certification processes, et cetera. So we're well ready for what's to come.
So Scott, what is the thing that small business owners and business owners in general should be most aware of going in? Where do they stand to get caught, so to speak, in some of
That's a
the
great question.
misunderstandings, et cetera? What are the biggest things they need to be aware of? And we've got about 2 minutes left.
Okay, let me yeah, that's a great question. So I think becoming aware of what the various options are going to be is going to be critical. So for small business owners to be aware of Avenue H as a viable resource for healthcare. And again, just a quick plug for Avenue H. What they've done is they've created a model that allows an individual employee to choose between 75 different insurance plans. So the employer, as a group, they go and they register with Avenue H. They go through an enrollment process as a group. So it's not like they're going into this big conglomerate and becoming part of that conglomerate. Every company is treated as their own company within Avenue H. But then once they've been established, each individual employee has the ability literally to choose between 75 different insurance options, between Select Health, United Healthcare, and Regents Blue Cross Blue Shield. That's for this year. Next year, there's a new carrier coming into play, Arch's Health Plan, that will be a new face.
We don't have enough time today.
Yeah, it's important. Come Thursday to the session in the county courthouse, 11 o'clock. Scott can go into more depth and answer your questions. Thanks for joining us today on Chamber Matters.